Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. As children, we easily learn to forget ourselves, to forget who it is that God made us to be. We forget this because as we grow, we try to fashion an accepted public image. And this can begin way back in our childhood. As we age, this tendency, this desire to have an acceptable public image only intensifies and certainly probably reaches its peak for most of us during our adolescent years and into our early adult years. But eventually, God leads us back to that child who lived a life of imaginative freedom many, many years ago. Do you remember that child? What were your pure delights when you were a child? And you may be surprised to see that those delights rekindle as you return to the person that God created you to be. As a child, I had a delight in toy motor cars. They were my absolute pleasure. And today, nothing gives me more pleasure than driving. I have never given up that childhood fascination with cars. At the very outset of our lives, we feel such pressure to be someone other than ourselves. Do you remember that? And unfortunately, this pressure, this demand by the world that we be someone other than ourselves, now seems to impinge on younger and younger children. As we move towards adulthood, we stifle our imaginations, because imagination reminds us of the painful gap between who we most truly are and who we play in the so-called real world. As we strive to succeed or to survive, we lose touch with our inner world. We lose touch with God, who resides in our inner world. We lose touch with who God created us to be. And we disappear into our roles. We disappear into the person we think we should be. And this comes at a great cost to others and the world at large. We often sense that something is missing in our lives as we begin the journey back to our true selves, to the people that God created us to be. We begin to have a sense that something is missing. And then we begin to realize actually what is missing is us, the person that God created us to be. And often when we begin to sense this, we begin to feel fraudulent, even invisible, because we are not who we truly are. We are not who we are truly created to be. And in that state, the light within us cannot shine out into the darkness of the world, and the darkness within us cannot be illuminated by the world's light. And when we're in this place of disconnection from who we really are, we project our inner darkness onto others. And in that way we make enemies, and this makes the world a much more dangerous place. This inauthenticity makes real relationships almost impossible. And this leads to loneliness. And in many ways, and quite often, it leads to us working in ways that taint our work with duplicity. Unfortunately, this type of life is not uncommon in the world today, because in a sense, this divided life is recommended in our culture. But our culture is backward. Because authenticity makes us feel safe. If we do not feel safe, we go to ground to protect ourselves. We hunker down. We become suspicious. In this place, students will fail to give of their very best. Employees will not give their hearts to their work. Patients will feel unable to work toward their own healing. And citizens will disengage from the political process. Inauthenticity undermines the fabric of our society, and it undermines our relationships and our good works. It undermines one of the most important relationships, and that is our relationship with God. If we acted from a place of truth that is deep within, then society would be a much safer place and a much more sane place. A divided life is always a choice. A divided life is a wounded life. And the soul keeps calling us to healing. And if we ignore that call, we often find ourselves trying to numb our pain. God knows us. He knows who we are at our very core. And He knows too that we will only find a place of peace when we have come to see ourselves as He sees us, when we have come to accept the beauty of who we are, and when we have come to live that out in the world. Our authenticity contributes to a much greater working out of God's kingdom on earth. Amen.